I welcome you to this sitting, kind of like my maiden sitting as Speaker. The others were the formal ones, the State of the Nation and the budget. I think that's where I stopped. And today is therefore substantially my first time to sit with you in the 11th Parliament. I want to thank you greatly for the support that you extended to me through whatever you are able to do. And we are here by the grace of God, and we thank God that this has come. I am grateful to the Deputy Speaker, and I want to thank her before all of you. She had not chaired Parliament before. When Parliament started, she had to hit the ground running because the overall commander was unable to do it. And she became a very good deputy and did an extremely good job with your cooperation. I want to thank her very, very much. I've said this to her, I've said this in other meetings, but I want to say it in the House for the record, that she did what she could. And we have come this far, and the House has not stopped sitting. So I am very, very, very grateful. Honorable members, the last few days have been difficult for this country and for all of us. We lost General Pecos Kutesa, who was buried on Sunday. He was a member of the 10th Parliament, and we all know that. As if that was not bad enough, last Saturday we lost General L'Okori, arising from a very simple thing that could have been avoided, but was not avoided. So we lost General L'Okori. An officer who many of you know because of his very high elevation of height, and also for the bit of things here that he was able to do each time is required to do anything. I'm delighted that his overall boss, or former boss, is here, General Muhoozi. General L'Okori's passing should be a lesson to all of us from what we have gathered and what he told me when I last sat with him about 4 days before he passed. An injury that was so simple, but a blunt injury. Members, and all of you listening and watching, a blunt injury is the worst kind of injury you'll ever have. The doctors will tell you that. You bleed without bleeding, or without knowing. The doctors here can tell you that. And there are things that must be done to avoid a situation where the blood could get messy. Sometimes we forget to do those simple things like aspirin, Claxin, that can help avoid situations of this nature. And eventually, it comes to what, in the case of General L'Okori, it did. Tall giant taken down by a little blood clot. Sad. It's a very sad episode. Something that could have been avoided. They have gone, they have left us a task we must fulfill because we are here. We are here. By the grace of God, we stand in the gap and do just that. And that's why God has still spared us. And we are grateful for that. To talk about the man in the chamber, a man you may know, you may not know, but a man who is now here, who is with us in a different capacity. If you see at the table, you see a very familiar place, but sitting in a wrong place if it were to be. If it were to be by the assessment of last year, we would have ruled him out of order for sitting where he's sitting. I want to introduce to you somebody you know. Somebody who belongs to a generation of Ugandans who had to break through the hardest obstacles, who had to defy poverty, going through very difficult situations. Many of us belong to that generation of people. And many of the people there, the majority of them, many of them, still belong to the generation I am talking about. Whose mothers never went to school, whose mothers, daughters continue to carry water on their heads, carry children on their backs, grind millet on their knees so that the family can eat. That generation of mothers and fathers inspired so many small little children who did not know anything about anything to take education seriously. This generation's story should be an inspiration to the rest of our children, that it is possible if you put your mind to it. The gentleman I'm talking about is part of that generation. A generation who was taught English in vernacular, because there was no other way of telling you how to call head except by reference from your local language. I too belong to that generation. But God is a great God. With a determination, sheer determination and hard work, we broke through the ranks. And the gentleman I introduced to you this afternoon broke through the ranks. How many of you did that? How many of you did that? Many of you went to nursery schools. We never did. We never did. School was so far, in my case, 4 miles. In adults' case, we used to share these things about the same distance. A young child could not manage. You needed to first mature, and then you can take the rough ride. These children who still find themselves in this situation must be our focus. We must inspire them, inspire their parents, and tell them it's possible. The facilities are there. We should support them to do that. Let's have the systems work. In our case, there was no UPE, but families could work together and pay the then very little school fees to enable people to come. The gentleman I wanted to introduce to you this afternoon went through that. He went through the rough and tide of early childhood to struggle for a future he did not even understand. Now, from those barefoot walking children, 1 meal a day, they are here. They are here. We celebrate them, but their story should inspire the people of this country. I want to introduce to you the Honorable Adolf Mesige, our new clerk to Parliament. Who I don't know, out of fear, but I think it's out of commitment from Minister of Defense, from wherever. He decided to, I think it was out of fear also, because when HC appointed him to come here, I don't think he had an opportunity to say no, or the option to say no, but he's here out of commitment to help us do what we must as an institution to serve the people of this country. And the focus is very simple. Those mothers that we know, those children that we have seen, those old men and old women that we know should be our focus. The actions we do here must reflect on them. So we welcome Honorable Adolf Mesige as Chief Executive of the Parliament of Uganda to facilitate the wing, the technical wing of this Parliament, to support the political leadership of this House so that we can deliver on our purposes. Please receive again the Honorable Adolf Mesige. Thirdly and lastly, honorable members, I have a suggestion. A suggestion that has been bothering me for years, but I've never had the opportunity to communicate it firmly and have members' view on it. I am going to propose that we have a general debate without decision. On the Uganda we want to see in 5 years as Parliament, from the parliamentary perspective, what do we want to see? And how do we get to see it? What do we want to see? And how do we get to see it? The President has outlined what he wants to do, what the government, the executive will do. But from the parliamentary perspective, what should we do? I would propose that we have that debate without decision, where members will come and speak their lungs out with the conviction and commitment, remembering the people who sent them here to speak about those things that matter to them, not some imaginary stuff. We agreed at the beginning that this Parliament is going to be different. This Parliament is going to be a people's Parliament and is going to focus on those things that affect the people, not things that affect us as parliamentarians as the main focus. But the things that affect those people, those mothers, those children, the President called it socio-economic transformation. How do we get there? He has even gone ahead and proposed the parish model as the vehicle to deliver. What is our understanding as parliamentarians of this concept? How do we shape it and make it work? How do we interrogate this matter, ask the vital question, make the necessary changes in what has been proposed to make it work better, focusing on the national interest and better service delivery to our people? How do we achieve that? I would propose that we have that debate. But I'm going to consult with the Deputy Speaker and the Government Chief Whip and the leaders and the leader of the opposition, and the other whips, and the other leaders in the opposition and on the government side on how we structure this. This debate may take 2 weeks or 3 weeks, where we just thrash out issues, perspectives. And you will not speak if you have not done research. It must be evidence-based. The era of gambling with speeches are over. Let's do research. The era of throwing figures and statistics whose sources are us is over. We want the people, when they read the answers of this House, they read it as an authoritative document that can be quoted by researchers and students and other people interested in knowing what is happening in the country. Things have truly changed in this House. And those of you who are still waiting, the bus is off the stage. Let's work. The society is watching. And they are watching keenly what we are going to do with them and for them. They are watching. They are waiting. And guess what? In another 50-something months, no, 50 months? No? How many months? Yeah, less than 60 now. Is it months or weeks? Month. Huh? Finish 100 days. That's a huge dent without impact yet. But we have done well with the interrogation of the Imioga things. We have done well with so many other things. They are beginning to warm up to Parliament. Let's do more. Let's do more. Honorable members, those are my proposals to you. And when this happens, you'll truly see people saying these are leaders. Leaders of the time. Leaders who came at the right time. And when the time is done and we are done, they'll say, we are not done with you because you are doing well. So they'll return all of you, arising from what we do with and for them. We should never fall in the trap of what makes a huge percentage of parliamentarians never met it but here. We should not fall in that trap. I urge you, honorable members, let's focus, put our eyes on the ball. Let's work hard. Let's focus on those people who we represent. And let's discuss matters. The other day I said, let's sharpen our arguments, not our voices, so that we air out everything in the best interest of the people of this country and in their service. May God bless all of you as we embark on this important task.